In position 9, Mark Jewell and that awesome Tirana who did a 122 yesterday to get into 9th on the very last lap of that qualifying session. Stephen Ling, the first of the Commodore Cup cars, is next. Wayne Crystal will start out of 11. David Ling starts out at 12. We'll see him in the V8 Utes this afternoon. Also in the ex-Chucky Baxter machine. He starts out at 12. 13 is Michael Miller out of Western Australia. Then it's Carl Winans out of the Northern Territory. Stephen Johnstone also out of Darwin. Then it's Terry Mason out of 16. Frank Paniza will start out of the 16th position. Chris Langworthy is next out of 18. Then it's Alan Langworthy in 19th position. Back to Simon Bullash, who rounds out the top 20. Inside the 11th row sees Jeff Duckworth in car number 61. Alongside him is Ebony Coates. And we go back to Carla Karpenko in the 23rd position in car number 81. And Ian Roots in car number 10 starts out at 24. Rodney Jessup starts out of position 25 in car number 31. Alongside him is Adam Champion. We start to move back into the HQ Holden area now with Glenn Holdsworth out of position number 27. Skabinowski out of 28. Gavin Thompson, 5-time winner in this category for HQs. Further back to Andrew Williams, Kevin Stoopman, Stav Mostras, Peter Anderson, Brian Nixon, and Anthony Henwood, who was sent rear of field yesterday as the cars take to the grid. 35 cars lining up for race 1 on day 2 of the Sky City Triple Crown 400. The V8 Supercars coming up a little later on this afternoon. But we're about to kick things off with our local class here this morning over 8 laps. Expect the guy at the front to leap into the distance. He's been doing some good things in Aussie racing cars this year. The man out of Toowoomba in Queensland. Waiting for the signal at the back of the field. 5 seconds. Revs rise. Race 1 of the weekend here. 2014 Sky City Triple Crown. And it's a good start. Plenty of wheel spin from the Mazda as it tries to get away. In fact, Braun is going to drag race him down here to turn number 1. I think he's going to get the advantage here as they head down to turn 1 on lap 1. Everybody away safely from the grid as they head down into turn 1 on lap 1. They sweep through this double apex turn 1-2 section, then the drop back through the modified section. Now you'll see the walls on the left-hand side have been modified after multiple shunts over the years. It is Uber Gang that leads them down into turn number 5 on lap 1. Clubhouse Corner, which has caught so many out. We've got a car locking its brakes further back in the field. As we go into the valley section, the slowest point of the racetrack, around about 70 to 80 kilometres an hour. Uber Gang starting to get a little bit of a gap as he comes out of turn 6 and down this drop into turn 7 on lap 1. The gap's about 3 car lengths as they sweep through turn 7 for the first time. Uber Gang from Braun, then it's Kroonsteiver and Caligari back in the 4th position. They come round to the backside of the circuit, turn 10 past the gravel trap, which has caught so many cars out over the years, and the drop down the slalom. Into the final turn, and back onto this 1.1 kilometre main straight. To complete lap number 1, you'll see plenty of slipstreaming down this part of the track as Uber Gang comes through to reel off lap number 1. The Uber Gang Transport Mazda leads us across the line. Braun is in 2nd. Kroonsteiver is in 3rd position. So they go down to turn number 1. That's Caligari, Ridley, Playford and Wilson. Some of the stars inside the top 10 as we go into turn 1 on lap number 2. This is a good job from Braun. He's actually sticking with Uber Gang as they come down through turn 3 now, the flip-flop and the run down to Clubhouse Corner, turn 5. Kroonsteiver sticking with Braun, the Victorian, as they go down to turn 6. Gets a bit sideways then out of turn number 5. The run down to the hairpin now. Uber Gang sweeps out of that section. He's not getting the advantage I thought he would. Maybe just letting this car settle, although it just starts to stretch a little bit now. He was the fastest, obviously, on the first lap. Standing start of 125.37 as they go through turn 7. Outside the 6, we got Wilson, Jewell, Smith, Crystal. Then it's Mason, Stephen Ling, Miller, and David Ling, who's dropped a few spots back on the opening lap as Uber Gang comes out of the final corner and onto the main straight. Now he starts to stretch the legs. You see battle packs on your PRG super screen. That's further back in the field as the leader comes across to reel off another lap here. Now he starts to get serious. It's about 6 car lengths as they head down the main straight into turn 1. Well, we've got some Smoke coming out of the third place car going down into turn 1. Don't think it's anything to be worried about. Lap 3 of 8. Shannon's Insurance presents the improved production Commodore Cup and HQ Holdens here at the Sky City Triple Crown. You can see this time Uber Gang has just moved away. The battle is now on for second and third. It's a long way back to the fourth place car of John Caligari. He's now starting to feel it from Ridley as we go down through Clubhouse, down to turn 6 on lap number 3 here. 118.23. He was the quickest man, Adam Uber Gang, on that last lap by nearly 0.6 of a second. So he sweeps through the right-hander and heads on his way down to the backside of the circuit here. Outside the 10 at the moment, as we said, we had Miller, Panizza, Langworthy and Johnstone. You have to look all the way down to see Gavin Thompson doing it again in the HQ Holdens. He's back in 27th, but he's the class leader in the HQ Holdens as they come out to reel off another lap here. Boy, they fly on by here when you're doing 118s. And Uber Gang just disappearing with this one. Braun is holding Kroonstuyver at bay here. He's doing a good job. And they've left Caligari for, well, it's at least 8 to 10 car lengths, possibly 3 seconds when we look at the timer here. 117.8 on that lap per round for Adam Uber Gang. We said before, he's running very well in the Aussie Racing Car Series this year, and I'm sure teams up and down the lane will be having a look at this young guy. Runs his own transport business out of Toowoomba in Queensland, as I've said yesterday, but knows how to muscle this Mazda around here. He won this event last year, as we see Braun just get out of shape there through the turn 5 region. The track does drop away considerably there. There's an extra bit of runoff there that wasn't there last year, and the drivers are going to use that even more. Uber Gang sweeps through turn 7. We're watching Kroonstuyver on your PRG super screen as he sweeps down. The crowd's starting to build here today on day 2 of the Sky City Triple Crown. A couple of cars come into pit lane. Now we've got some lap traffic coming up because the HQs are coming through the finish line now as your leader comes onto the main straight. So he'll encounter lap traffic soon. And half race distance. 117.88 last time round for Uber Gang. What's it going to be this time round? Hits a line, it's 118, so he's found a pace he wants to run to and not torch the tyres too much. They've got another race coming up today at about 12:30 in much warmer conditions. And now he starts to catch the lap traffic. So your order is Uber Gang, Braun, Kroonstuyver in 3rd, Caligari is 4th, then it's Ridley in 5th, Playford is 6th, then we go back to Jewel in 7th. Behind them you got Wilson, who's dropped down the field a bit, Barry Smith in 9th, and Mason rounds out the 10. Crystal is 11th, Steve Ling is 12th, Frank Panizza is in 13th, then we go back to Miller and David Ling, dropping down to 15th place. As already the leader is bursting through the HQs, and he'll put a big margin on the rest of the field now. 2 lap cars in between, 1st and 2nd place now as they go through turn 7. Working lap number 5. Shannon's Insurance supporting this improved production, Commodore Cup and HQ Holdens. A big field once again. We've been averaging around 40 cars for the past few seasons. We've got 35 this year. And here comes your leader through the traffic to reel off another lap. He's got another 3 or 4 HQs further down the road to lap. So we see Braun and Kroonstuyver still battling it out for 2nd and 3rd position. Working lap 6 of 8 here today at Darwin's Hidden Valley Raceway. Starts to get busy, doesn't it? There's battle packs right through the field. It's a good battle going through turn 7 as we speak now. A couple of Commodore Cup cars in there. Could be Barry Smith involved in there too. As our leader, right in the mix of lap traffic. He's got through. Those 3 HQs are on the main straight. They were a good 400 metres ahead of him as they came down to turn 1. He's now got past all of them. And that is really going to cement the race now for Adam Uber Gang. Even with the traffic ahead, he's now got 4 cars between himself and 2nd place man, the Victorian Robert Braun. Through 7 they go. Kroonstuyver and Braun have now got through the lap traffic also. You're watching some action now heading down into turn 1, which will be modified in the coming seasons, be flattened out a little bit. Lose a bit of the camber out of the corner. And certainly next year when we come back, the track will be resurfaced and a totally different animal. Car goes off the track down there on your PRG super screen as Ubergang reels off another lap and has got this race under control. Braun, Kroonstuyver, still second and third. And we go back to Caligari, who crossed the line in the 5 machine from Western Australia. Quick tap of the brakes to make sure he's got a pedal at the end of this 1.1 kilometre main straight. Ubergang sweeping his way. Turn 3, 4, and then down to turn 5 on this one. Lap 7, so the penultimate lap of this one. They'll be back out this afternoon at lunchtime, just after the 2 back-to-back V8 supercar qualifying sessions. So orders unchanged outside, or inside the top 10. Outside the 10, we've got Ling, that's Stephen Ling, Panizza, Mason, Miller, and Ling. Then we've got Langworthy. Wienans is in 17th. Alan Langworthy in 18th. And then we go to John Stone and Ian Roots rounding out the top 20. 1 and a bit laps remaining now for your leader as he comes through the back section of the circuit. The dropout through the slalom into the final turn. Accelerates down the main straight here. The gap last time around was 5 seconds. Back to second position. Robert Braun, the Victorian, doing a good job as a passing flag's been held here for Holdsworth. Glenn Holdsworth. He should be safe for turn 1 as we're on the final lap now. Ubergang just goes underneath Holdsworth. That's good driving from the veteran racer. Father, of course, of Lee and Brett Holdsworth. So they swing down the backside past the speedway and up into turn 5 here. Still got Thompson, your class leader in HQ Holdens. The Commodore Cup leader is Stephen Ling in 11th position, but all before him is over 2-litre cars, and that's no surprise, is it? Kroonstuyver has glued himself to the back of Braun, but Braun's driven very defensively, and he'll hold on to second here unless something happens in the final half a lap here as Ubergang slides his way down past turn 7 and heads past this crowd that continues to build on day 2 of the Sky City Triple Crown. Heads around the back section of the circuit now for the final time. And drops down into the hill into the final section of this racetrack. Coming down and then from pole position, Adam Ubergang collects another one and remains undefeated in the past 2 seasons. The Ubergang Transport sponsored car wins race 1 of the Shannon's Improved Production Commodore Cup, and HQ's here today. And can you believe this? I've put the curse on him. Kroonstuyver will get second, so he's got Braun in the closing stages of that final lap and goes up a position to grab second. So Kroonstuyver, he'd been menacing him all race long and finally got through to get second spot. Behind him was Braun, then it was Ridley. Playford in 5th. Smith was 6th. Then it was Wilson, Jewell, and Crystal in 9th position. Back to Ling. Stephen Ling, the first of the Commodore Cup cars, in position 10. Then Panizza, Mason, Ling, Langworthy, Wienans, Caligari, who dropped right down to 16th on the final lap. So issues for the Commodore there. Then it was Langworthy, Johnstone, Ian Rotes, and should be Carla Kapenko, who gets in for 20th on the very last lap. So well done. Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Ubergang, your winner, coming past you around this Hidden Valley Raceway. Certainly a man to keep an eye out for the future. The 31-year-old from Toowoomba, who will be pretty hard to beat in race number 2 later on this afternoon. The Shannon's Improved Production Commodore Cup and HQs as we start to turn up the tempo on day 2 of the Sky City Triple Crown. If you've just arrived, 96.2 FM around the grounds here if you want to listen into the commentary. In the meantime, let's check in with Todd and Tahan, who are out in the merchandise alley here this morning.